Why do people die? I always wonder that. Why do they die? Um, there's a lot of sunny poetry that comes to mind. People die because they no longer accept the idea of living. They don't want to live. Maybe they're too old. Maybe they have a disease. They give up the ghost. They pass away. They push up daisies. 86. They're colored gone. Things like that. People die at an old age just like they were almost immortal until they died, right? I always thought if you had two primary fears in life, one would be you're not as brilliant as you think you are because you have seen other people just sort of scoff at you or whatever else, or it's like you're not as important as you think you are. I tell that. I say that all the time. I don't say it to my daughter, of course. I don't want her to believe that yet. Eventually, when she's like 50 years old and I'm still hopefully alive, she'll come to me and say, Dad, people are kind of jerks. And I'll be like, yeah, well, I was trying to tell you that for years in my own special, subtle way. The other fear I think people have is that they will die and they will not be remembered. That there won't be any stories. No one will tell stories. Maybe we won't have pictures. There are certain memories that I don't have. I can't access for them because I don't have a picture to help me to remind myself of that. So, as you know, the last 2 years, 2016 and 2017, there's been a lot of death of people, right? And there's a few people who've died young, comparably young. Prince, people like that. And then... And then there are people who are like, and this is like common on Facebook. People from an much older generation dying. Like, I belong to like a Star Trek group. I belong to a Twilight Zone group. And then I find that, an actor on Twilight Zone died. And it was like, oh my God, I remember that person. They were in this episode and it was really awesome. And they were a great actor, great talented person, old school, different kind of aesthetic, different kind of, technique or process going on with those actors at that time. It was a different time, and they were so good. And the question eventually comes down to, well, how old were they? How old was this person? And they're like, he was 90. And you're like, oh, that's a shame. 90, which is a long life. That's a long life. And you, at that point, I didn't want to be one of these people who says, oh my God, that's so terrible. Cut down, prime of life, 90. But really not quite, because 90 is a good run. That is a good run. When somebody dies and they're 85, 86, hell, even 80 years old, can you imagine it's 80 years? And they die, it's like, good on you. Good on you. And the only thing I can hope for, this is something that I wish, is when it's my turn to kick, I'm on my deathbed and I'm surrounded by my grandchildren. I'm surrounded by my child and her children and her children's children, all surrounding, and then I can die. I can be like, that's it. I did it, because that's all that matters. That's all that matters, is just keeping it going and bringing more wise, instructive, intelligent, educated people into this world. Wouldn't it be weird? Wouldn't it be weird if, like, all right, I'm doing this podcast, right? We save all this stuff. Maybe it stays up there on the internet forever and ever and ever, or until YouTube goes down or something, and maybe we find something else. Or we just keep it in some form so that it never deteriorates, it never degrades. And the kids, like maybe 200 years from now, dig up this stuff and play it, provided they're able to play it, and they listen to it and they're like, "Oh my God, that's my great grandfather's podcast," and he's talking like this. He's not this kind of guy that was like a complete and utter arrogant, stuck-up asshole. I mean, I'm an arrogant, stuck-up asshole. I know I am. But I like to think that I'm real. At least I'm honest. I'm never going to lie. I can lie to myself, but I won't lie to other people. And, it's kind of like that video for You Got Lucky by Tom Petty, where this weird apocalyptic wasteland desert thing, but there's like this structure in the middle of nowhere, and the band, Tom Petty and the band, show up and they open up the store, and inside are records and tapes and stuff like that. It's like they found a treasure trove of history or something. Or maybe they just found Tom Petty records. However that may be. So it would be amazing 200 years from now that people would be listening to his podcast. Oh, this was from a strange fad that was going on in the old Earth archives back then. You had this thing called a podcast, and what a podcast was basically kind of like radio, but it was like free radio for everyone who has internet access. They can go and listen to it. And we're sharing our stories, and we're telling our story, and we're cursing. Fuck, shit, ass, damn, fuck. We're cursing all over the place, because you couldn't do that. You can't do that on what they call terrestrial radio. No curse words. My wife was writing an article for her monkeys versus machine blogs that she does. Very well-received blogs, and I help her. I edit them. And she was saying something about you couldn't say hell on television back in the 60s, or at least that particular, The Monkees was kind of a show aimed at kids, right? So they had to keep it light so that the kids would enjoy it. And also that, I guess, the network's broadcast standards department always wanted to take the high road when it came to that. And there was an episode of Star Trek called The City on the Edge of Forever from the original series, written by Harlan Ellison. And Kirk is distraught at the end of this episode, and he says, let's get the hell out of here. And that was a big deal, apparently, in 1967. It's like saying, let's get the fuck out of here on CBS or something. What the fuck are you doing, buddy? Hey, let's get the fuck out of here. On CBS. Thank you very much. So, I forget where I was going with this. Where was I going? Oh, it's something about podcasts. Yeah, podcasting and all that stuff. We're thinking about immortality. That's what it's all about. When people die, do we think that people are immortal? Is it? Do people think? I just did an episode about celebrities and everything. They think they're going to live forever in some way. They're going to be able to cheat death. This is the bargaining part of our grief, I guess, is that the grief is in our own death or the lack of our own immortality, right? At least physical immortality. So what do? We bargain. We try to figure out a way to cut corners. We try to figure out a way to extend life. But, it's once we get, the life expectancy will continue to go up because we're taking better care of ourselves, obviously. But we're not going to be, unless we get to AI, artificial intelligence, right? What if we take the brain and convert it into a computer? Like, I can be a hard drive at some point. But will I achieve consciousness? Will I be able to mate my life essence with that computer in a very disgusting way and somehow create an artificial intelligence version of myself? Oh my God, that would be a fantastic idea if we could actually get to that rather than any other ideas that you see popping up in movies. That would be fantastic if you could come up with an idea where someone takes someone's, I don't know, mind and their heart and their soul or something and converts it into bits and puts it into a hard drive. That would be fantastic if you could actually do that. Unfortunately, the way movies are being made these days, I really can't see it happening. People are just falling in love with simulacrum, I like to call it. Like Spike Jonze did a movie with Joaquin Phoenix called Her, and it looked terrible. It just it was, I remember I got offended, I think, by somebody because I said basically it's just a ripoff of a Twilight Zone episode called From Agnes with Love about Her is about, like, say you fall in love with Siri or Alexa or something and you have a relationship or you consider yourself in some kind of a weird relationship with that person. That computer program, that algorithm, that what they're calling artificial intelligence that really isn't. All those things are just talking computers. I can get my computer to talk to me too. I think there's something on the computer upstairs called Cortana, and maybe it's a pleasant-sounding female, or it can be a pleasant-sounding male, or just it can be anything that you want it to be. The thing that makes life special is that your interactions with people are solely things you can't control. So, like a couple of episodes back, I talked about an altercation outside that occurred outside my house between a man and two women, and it was a very violent altercation. It's part of the ugly nature of humanity, but also part of its beauty, because the beauty is in the unpredictability. You're not really sure where it's going to go from there. So I think that once we get into the true idea of artificial intelligence, maybe we might be able to extend our lives indefinitely in that way. But if it's a life where I can't enjoy a Philly cheesesteak, I can't enjoy a chicken quesadilla, or an ice cold Coca-Cola, or Thanksgiving turkey with stuffing, or a roast beef sandwich with mozzarella on Italian bread, smelling flowers growing in a field, or rolling around in the grass, or something like that. Dust, the smell of dust, the sensation, eyes, color. If it's something that I can't enjoy fully like that, that's not life. Life may be what we put out there, but it's also what we get back. So I was thinking about the life expectancy. What do you have? 71.4 years, according to Google and all the various other sources out there. The average life expectancy is for males and females. I guess we ran an average on both genders, and the other 93 that are out there. And we came up with 71.4 years. So why are we upset when people die at 90? Does that make any sense? I mean, 90 years? Do you know what 90 years is? 90 years is, what's that, 19 years, I'm going to say. It's about 19 years that you have cheated death. If you're expected to go at 71.4, you get like a little, maybe you have like a little heart attack or something like that, or you're lying in your bed. You're very tired. You might feel like it might be that time. 71.4 years. And Grim Reaper's over there. He's standing there. He's holding his coat. He's the eternal footman. He's looking at you. He's like, "You ready to go, kid?" And you're like, yeah. I'll be right. Why don't you wait outside? Why don't you wait outside, Mr. Death? And I'm going to get my stuff. I'm going to get ready. I'll get out of this bed, and we'll go, okay? He's like, okay. All right, I'll be just outside. And you get up, and you run out the opposite direction, go out the door. And you're running down the street. And you're running down the street for 19 years. And Grim Reaper is just like, "This son of a bitch fucking tricked me. I'm going to beat the shit." Oh, grrr. Right? Sorry, I'm getting all goofy now because it's really late. It's been a long night. Long night. It'd be ironic if I died right after I recorded this, wouldn't it? Creepy. But at least, I don't know. My family will have an endless source of entertainment after that, huh? Never die stupid either, because that's embarrassing. Everybody will know about it. So you're on the run from Mr. Death for 19 years. Maybe you decide to treat your body a little bit better. Maybe try to extend it a little more. Maybe you're doing a good job. Maybe it's just a good job of you taking care of yourself and being able to live. Well, eventually you're going to get too tired to keep running. Old Mr. or Mrs. Death, we don't know. But we might as well be an equal opportunity employer when it comes to death, as we are with life. It's going to catch up to you eventually. He's going to put his skeletal hand on your shoulder there. He's like, "All right, buddy, I am really sick of running. You are coming with me. Get in the car." Mr. Death has a car. What kind of car would he have? He would have a Barracuda. He would have a souped-up Mustang. He would have a 66 Pontiac Catalina. He would never drive a Volkswagen. Just, I don't know, maybe one of those big old, beautiful, enormous Cadillacs from like the late 70s, early 80s. Oh, Cadillac Eldorado. Oh my God, what a gorgeous car. I'll talk about cars at some point, but again, I wanted to harp on that idea I had that the cars just look like shit these days. They just totally Um, Great looking cars are back from the past. And that's a past we'll never have. Thank you very much. Excuse me a sec. So, what was I thinking about? I've got my vape here. Hey, that's a good point. I should probably make that point, right? I quit smoking. It's been over 14 months by this point that I have not smoked cigarettes, right? I cannot thank my friend Noah for enough for helping me down that road. God damn, he should really get out there and just and do this for a living. He should totally get people off of cigarettes. And I've been vaping, and I'm pretty sure I've added years to my life, right? I might not die at 55. I might not die at 65. This might have given me an extra 20 years. Maybe I'll wind up cheating death for a few years. But once you get to 71, aren't you kind of like, aren't the gloves off at that point? And you're like, oh boy, I am really playing with fire now. It's 71. How old are you, Doug? Well, I'm 71 and about a month. And the person you're talking to is like, oh boy, it's going to happen, isn't it? I don't know, buddy. Maybe you should stop jogging then. Okay, I'll stop jogging. I'll hedge my bets. How about I just lock myself in my apartment? Hopefully, just get some money saved aside, set aside. I got a swimming pool. Hey, got a swimming pool. I'll chill. Get the heart rate up, good going. Have a good, healthy sex life or something like that. Eat good foods, but in moderation. Try to do everything in moderation. I don't know, man. 71. You're really playing with it. You're really playing with life at this point. Still, I got to have all the things I wanted to have. Maybe it's a complete life. Maybe I shouldn't be so scared. Okay, so I'll live the rest of my life not being scared. Perhaps that's happiness. Happiness is not being frightened. It's not being scared. Maybe that extends your life in a way that it gives you quality more than quantity. And quality, I think, is all that matters. Really? I mean, you should probably consider. I don't want to give you platitudes or anything like that. I'm not about that. Although on this show, this is the third in a marathon, so I am crazy tired right now. But I still have some stuff to do. I got to clean up. I got to put away the leftovers. I got to clean up the kitchen. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. This is part of my normal everyday thing going on. But I guess when you hear about a famous person who dies, it's just death. Death is a part of life, right? So people are so frightened. They wind up being so frightened, and they try to insulate themselves. Their fear is still there. There's nothing they can do about that. But what they do is try to lock themselves up. They grab guns, and they're scared to death, and they're just waiting for Grim Reaper to knock on the door. Something else could happen. You could be part of something extraordinary. You could be like, I'm about to do something incredible, but first I got to make this trip over to the World Trade Center before business starts and get up to the 108th floor and drop off this form and these papers and everything, and oops, there you go. You're kind of lost in the middle of it. You're in a group of people on a street corner, and a bus, the driver wasn't looking, he accidentally jerks the wheel and mows down 19 people, and you happen to be one of them. However it's going to happen, you're never going to know. You're never going to know when it hits you. That's the sick thing about life, isn't it? You never know when it's going to hit you. So that's why we spend so much time protecting our babies. We protect our babies. We're worried. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. We never will. That is the job for the Grim Reaper. He's the guy who knows. I'm sorry to have such a maudlin topic for you guys on this one, but I was just thinking about it. It's unusual, right? I put together a list of topics I like to discuss. I've got them right here. More celebrity hate, when people die, the BB gun. I want to talk about the BB gun at some point. That was an interesting incident that happened to me when I was a young man. The Trump conundrum, of course. Actual social courage. I'm a frog. An elephant and piggy book. Little things that I was thinking about. I'm not into feet. That's another one. Yes. I'm going to talk about that. I'm not into feet. Why are you into feet? Anyway, I have all these topics. I put them together and then, test them out. See if any of them stick, as it were. Anyway, it's been a good one. I just want to say, try to live your life, man. And don't worry when other people die, and especially if they die after their 71st birthday. Screw them. They had a good life, okay? Screw them. And have a good night.